Well, hi again, everybody. I guess now we can move on with the season because the JT Roberty League game, the annual shootout, is in the books, and the John Tyler Lions won this past Friday night 21-0 at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium, and now they move on in their non-district schedule, a road game against Mesquite Horn coming up on Friday night at E.H. Hanby Stadium, and Coach Ricklan Holmes of the Lions is with us. First of all, congratulations on the win. I know it means a lot to the program, just from a pride point of view. In the overall scheme of things, I guess, you know, it didn't have tremendous meaning, but it does have some meaning to beat your crosstown rival, doesn't it?
It has a lot of meaning, just like every game that we expect to win this season. You want to make sure that you do the things to make sure that you put yourself in the position to win those type of games. And yes, it's a big deal because it's our crosstown rivalry.
Yeah.
And you know, you look back.
You said you wanted to be the city champ, right?
And like I said, and it goes back to our first goal. Yeah. Our first goal is to make sure that we was Tyler championship, and we took care of that business Friday night.
All right. The thing that most impressed me, there were a lot of things that were impressive about that, but your defense. Last year, Lee ran for over 400 yards against John Tyler and pulled off the upset. Well, that didn't happen on Friday night. You guys went into that game and you shut their run game down, didn't you?
And that's something that we've been harping on since the beginning of the season. As a matter of fact, since spring ball. And Coach Barry Anderson's doing a great job with that defense. That's the defensive coordinator, along with our new coach, which is Tori Elder, coach of defensive end, and D-line coach Chuck Isaac, and our DB coach, which is Jamie Moore, that came from the previous staff. So those guys are doing a great job with that defense side of the ball. The kids are learning a lot, and they are comprehending, and they're going out there and they're playing fast without thinking it. Which really what you want your defense to do. You want them to react and not think all the time. You want them to react and play, and that's what they're going out there doing right now.
Well, who played well? Give me a rundown of some of the kids. It maybe too many to mention, but
you can start with the tremendous play that came from DeQuante Woods. You know, he's a two-way starter now. He starts at wide receiver, he starts at Sam linebacker. Then you had our middle backer that came back from missing last week. Richard Gibson had a great game. DeAndre Miller had a great game. Chris Mobley had a great game. Tyus Bowser and Kevontae Jefferson done a great job on the edge containing the running backs, the rollouts and stuff like that. And then in the secondary, those guys, they withheld what they need to do. Terry Osborne, Elliott Hart, Trey Johnson, and a two-way starter, Darren Flowers.
Yeah, you had at least two or three interceptions in that game. I can't remember. I think it was two.
We had two. One taken back for a touchdown and one at the end of the game.
Yeah, and the one DeQuante Woods, his pick six. First of all, a great piece of work just to get the ball because he was a linebacker right on top of things. They were trying to throw a screen pass, and he kind of batted that thing down with one hand and went the other direction. That was a great play, wasn't it?
What he done was he done exactly what he was coached to do. You read the run. Once you see those linemen release free, what you're supposed to do is drop back in the cover, and that's exactly what he did. Drop back in the right spot to get the ball.
One thing to pick it off, and then another thing to do. You got to know what to do with it.
That's one thing you can't teach. Once they get the ball in their hand, you can't teach them what to do with it. And by him being a wide receiver, being on the offensive side of the ball, he knows what to do with the ball. Once the ball's in his hand, get to the end zone. That's what he did.
It was still a game, I guess, really at that point. But that really, if you had to pinpoint one play that kind of took the air out of Lee's balloon, that would be the one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be one of them that kind of put the nail in the coffin.
And just overall, less than 150 yards by the unofficial numbers that I have and the Tyler paper had for Robert E. Lee total yardage. And LaQuintus Wallace, who's a really, really fine running back, less than 3 yards a carry. That's a heck of a job.
Now, when you hold a running back like that to those type of numbers, that says a lot about your defense. That says a lot about what your defense stands for. And that was one of the deals that we didn't do very good last year at, and that was stopping the run. And like I said, Coach Barry Anderson, he's doing a great job with those kids. The defensive scheme that he's coming up with is letting the kids just play football right now, and that's what they're doing.
What do you think? What do you think you proved yourself and your team by what you did on Friday night?
It proves that, you know, if we stay consistent in everything that we do, we make sure that we stay the course that we've already set for ourselves. Our goals are very high, and it's almost unlimited right now. So.
All right, we're going to roll tape here in a minute, but let's go over to the offensive side of the football. Consistent night, not a bunch of turnovers. Talk a little bit about what you liked on that side of the ball.
them doing exactly what they're supposed to do. You know, the running game got started early with Reggie, and I'm very proud of how our offensive line is starting to gel together, and they're starting to become the line that they need to become, not just for run blocking, but for pass blocking also. Then you have the skilled guys that, you know, that we have that are unlimited almost, and Greg back there just taking control and doing what he does best, which is, you know, commanding himself on the field and controlling the offense.
Did it surprise you that you finished with more rushing yards than passing yards?
No, you know, that, like, you know, going back, I always
because that hasn't happened very much lately.
Yeah, going back to the beginning of the year, you know, our concern from last year, for me being in the head coach, was to make sure that our defense was able to stop the run, and on the offensive side, being able to run the ball, being able to control the clock. And Coach Antoine Bush is doing a good job with that offensive group right now. The scheme that he's putting together, working with the new offensive coaches out of Quentin Jones, running back coach, Will Smith, O-line coach, and Heath Grant, which is our wide receiver coach. Those guys are working together well, and they're getting it done.
Greg Ward, the kind of night he had, there was a concern in the second quarter. He got hit hard on a sack and went out of the game. He came back in pretty quickly. What happened, and how is he going forward?
He got bottled up, and when he got thrown back during the play on the tackle, his foot just got caught up underneath him.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, tweaked his ankle a little bit, but it wasn't bad enough to where, you know, he couldn't come back in the game. And, you know, Ward is a tough kid, but at the same time, he's a quarterback. And, you know, I told him all the time since the beginning of the season, I always refer back to the beginning of the season because that's where it started. You know, it's a lot of stuff that you want to do. It's a lot of stuff that you need to do. But you need to get down when you get bottled up. And that's one of the things that he's starting to learn how to do. If you've seen in the second half, you know, once he got bottled up or he got, you know, broke out of contain, he either went out of bounds or he dropped down. And, you know, just to make sure we take care of ourselves because, you know, 16 games is a lot of games to play.
Right.
You know, some teams, you know, they just trying to make it through 10 games. And that's not our goal.
I was going to say that. I love it when you say that. I mean, when you say 16 games, you're talking about all the way to the state championship. So, and that's been the mantra from the beginning. Let's not work for 10. Let's work for December, right?
That's right. And it started by taking care of Game 3. Game 3 was against Robert Lee. Now we move forward and we go to Game 4. But our eyes are always still on that 16th game.
All right, tell what you're saying then is when Greg, if he gets to the sideline, go ahead and step out of bounds.
Step out of bounds. Step out of bounds. Let's regroup. Let's call a new play. Let's get everything back to doing what we need to do. Just like if contain breaks, you know, the pocket collapses, and you get bottled up like he did when he got injured. As soon as you get bottled up like that,
go to the ground.
There's not too much more you can do. You know, with his competitive nature that he had, he always continued and trying to improve and get better and trying to make a lot of things happen.
Which he does more often
than none. But what you got to do is you got to make sure that you be smart about it also. You know, if you're in the grasp of a great linebacker, defensive end like he did during that game, get down. Get down. Let's regroup. Let's start over, and let's get it back rolling.
You know, because these kids are so wired, right, and to compete, that's hard for them to do. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But you got to pound it in the head. You got to make sure they understand why we're doing it, and that's what it boils down to. When our kids understand why they are doing something instead of somebody just telling them what to do and not explaining it to them, then they kind of be a little rebellious. But once you explain it to them, you let them know this is exactly why we're doing it. They get an understanding of it. Now they do it. And
the bottom line, Tyus is pretty good backup quarterback, but you're better with Greg out there than you are Tyus. He's a heck of a defensive end.
Most definitely, because he's a heck of a defensive end, but he's also a good quarterback.
He's a pretty good quarterback,
now. And that's
but Greg's probably a little better.
Right? Yeah, Greg's a little bit better. You know, considering he done this for a whole year last year, and he did it at the freshman level, which, you know, we knew then he was going to be that quarterback. But when we moved him up, we still had David Bush that was at the helm. So.
Well, anyway, that it was good to see him come back in. He sat out the rest of the half. This happened late in the second quarter. Third quarter started, he's right back out there.
He's right back out there, and that, like I said, that just shows his competitive nature. He doesn't want to not be on the field, being out there helping his team win a football game.
Now, Richard Gibson, as I recall, got banged up during the ball game.
Yes,
Am I right about that? Because he had missed a game, came back, and then he got banged up. Is he okay? What happened?
Yes, he's fine. He had a mild concussion. and he's clear. So now you go through the process of, you know, the evaluation that all kids have to go through once they have a concussion. And once he get cleared, and it's looking favorable that he's going to get cleared, he'll be ready by Friday.
Be ready by Friday, because now the rule is, what is it, 5 days?
Yes, it's 5 days from the time of the first evaluation, and then you'll go through a process of that 5-day stint. And during that process, when they get to that 5th day, that's the day that, you know, you say, hey, well, he's clear, and now we can move forward.
What do you remember as a player? What was the worst injury you had? What do you remember about it?
Worst injury I had was probably when I cut my finger open, a game at Oklahoma State, and that just getting it caught in the helmet and getting it split open. But other than that, that's about it.
You got pretty lucky then, right?
Yeah.
You left the game with no concussions, no knee injuries?
No knee injuries, no back injuries, no no broken ankles and stuff like that. So I walked away real healthy. So.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. And that's really kind of the exception rather than the rule, isn't it, Rick?
Yeah, it is, especially on the defensive side of the ball. As violent as that side of the ball has gotten over the years, with not just the competitive nature of the people that play it, but just the overall physical part of it. Kids are a lot faster, and a lot bigger. And with that comes collisions that are real violent and rough. So, if you can walk away after, a certain amount of years playing this sport, that's a blessing. Yeah,
and when you tell young men that ask you, Coach, I think I'd like to play football, what do you tell them about that, about the injury part of the game?
I tell them that, just make sure you're doing what you love, first of all. Understand that, this game is an unforgiving game. And what I mean by it being unforgiving, it can go either way, good or bad. But you got to be able to handle the bad with the good, and that comes with injuries. So be aware that an injury could happen, and the way you deal with that injury is going to determine how the rest of your career is going to go.
As a head coach, what have you learned in the first 3 games? I mean, you've been coaching for quite a while, but as a head coach, you're 3 games into it now. Yeah. From game 1 to game 3, I mean, what have you learned about doing this?
I learned that you got to take everything day by day. Yeah. I learned that you got to enjoy every moment that you have, because every day is not promised. I've also learned that you have to adjust to your kids. You have to make sure that you do the things that your kids are capable of doing, and you also have to make sure you stay consistent. Goes back to what my grandfather told me a long time ago. If you're not a man that stands for something, you'll fall for anything. And I'm gonna stand by my morals. I'm gonna stand by everything that I believe in, and I'm not gonna change. And I'm not gonna detour. And I tell the kids that all the time. Every day you're gonna know what you're gonna get. So
has the game slowed down? And I mean, I've heard players say that, but I would think, being a head coach, that the first game would seem awfully fast out there. Has it slowed down for you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think
because decisions are constantly having to be made out there, right?
I think it's pretty much stayed consistent from game 1 to game 3.
Yeah.
As far as dealing with referees, dealing with the player, dealing with the game management, and just making sure that everything is staying the course that it's supposed to stay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How you doing with the refs?
I'm doing good with the refs. I think they understand.
You talk to them over there?
I talk to them before the game. I let them know I'm a high energy person. I'm gonna stay in your ear when things go wrong. I'm gonna stay in your ear when things go bad. I mean, when things go good. I like to joke with them during the course of the game. Just to keep it on a level. And like I tell them at the beginning of the game, I understand your job. Your job is to manage the game, make sure the kids are safe, and to call the plays that you think need to be called. A lot of stuff that y'all gonna call today, I'm gonna question, and you gonna hear about it during the course of the game. So.
All right, Coach Holmes brings along game video of the 21-0 win over Robert E. Lee on Friday night. So let's roll the tape and again take a look at, among other things, a great effort by the JT defense. Now you're on offense here.
Yeah. As you see, we started out the game on offense. We lost the coin toss, and we had to and they kicked it off at us first because they deferred. And we started out the game with our jumbo packet with Tyus Biles in the back. So that was something. That was
you did. The starting quarterback Friday was Tyus Biles.
Starting quarterback was Tyus Biles.
Now that didn't last long, but all right. Now they're kicking to you here, and this is Ross here, right?
This is Fred Ross. This guy right here. He's that other athlete that we have on the offensive side of the ball. that does a good job returning punts for us this year.
And that set you up for your first touchdown.
Yes, it did. And, this is a good job by him tracking the ball down. He kind of misjudged it. As you see, he caught it over his left shoulder, kind of almost like a pass. And I told him I don't like him catching balls like that. But like I said, this is what they do. This is what he do. When the ball is in his hand, he tries to find a way to get to the end zone. He does a great job returning the ball.
All right, now Greg's in there now, right?
Yeah. Little swing out pass to Darren Flowers, and exceptional speed, tough kid, great hands, and he gets a great first down. Handing the ball off to Fred, tiptoes up the sideline, touchdown.
Yep. That was a nice run too.
It was.
Now that actually they called him out of bounds.
Yeah, they called him out of bounds.
Right.
So we just get it back, and now you give it to Reggie. Good hard yard that he got. Coming out the backfield, running game was looking real good at the beginning of the game.
And here's your little sophomore Jeremy Wilson, right?
Yes. Look quick, fast kid. He's exceptionally fast, but he's just as quick as he is fast. And, getting behind those big linemen that we have, he's going to be able to hide from a couple of people before he busts out.
How much fun is that for a 10th grader to score the first touchdown in the Lee JT game?
It's very exciting. It's very exciting for that kid.
Yeah, I bet it was. All right, here's an outstanding defensive effort there.
Yeah, that was DeQuante Woods coming in on that tackle. Like I said, he had a great game Friday night.
All right, back on offense.
Good pass right here to Jeremy Wilson.
Jeremy didn't much want to go down there, did he?
Yeah, like I said, he's a compact little short kid now. Yeah. He's not little. I mean, he's short, but he's a thick kid.
Yeah, that was a nice gain. All right.
Pass to Darren Flowers once again in the open field, making things happen, working upfield, making sure that once you get in traffic, you got to protect that ball. I told him, get in traffic, put 2 hands over that ball.
Yep. Is this the same play again?
Yeah, it's just a wide angle.
Okay.
So you can see how he found the soft spot within the coverage as he worked, got open, and turned upfield. One thing you don't ever want to see a receiver do is once they catch the ball, is take a step backwards. Mm-hmm. First step got to be forward, and he does a great job doing that.
All right. And he'll get to play somewhere next year. It's still up in the air for him.
Yeah,
right?
He's going to play somewhere.
Nice effort, Greg, keeping the play alive.
Yeah, and he does a great job of this, and he's going to do a great job of it for the rest of the year.
And he does what you want him to do. Exactly. There, he's got out of bounds,
out
right?
Of bounds.
Yeah.
You done got the first down, and some. Pretty good coverage by the Robert Lee secondary right there. Taking away our short and our deep route and making Greg tuck the ball. But now you got to make sure your linemen stay in their lanes and contain them. Great play right here by Darren Flowers coming off the edge at that corner position.
Bootleg, good coverage again.
Mm-hmm.
Ran out of sideline over there, nowhere to throw the ball. This is that play from the end zone, right?
Yeah.
So what are you coaching them to do here? Basically use that sideline as a defender?
That's
basically?
your third defender. Use that sideline as your third defender and squeeze them out.
Good tough inside run.
Nice little inside. You like to see your backs get a little gritty and inside and get up in there and make some things happen just like right here. Once you get to that first and second level, you just got to make people miss and make something happen. Mm-hmm. Reggie did a good job of that Friday night.
Again, one of the most interesting stats from the game, you outgained the running game, outgained the passing.
The passing yard, and that means we burned a lot of clock, and we controlled the game.
That was one of the quickest football games.
Yeah, anytime you get a lot of running, that game is going to continue to go because that clock does never stop.
Absolutely.
So.
And at some point this year, if you do what you want to do, at some point this year, they're going to shut your passing game down.
Yeah, and
you'll have to be able to do this, right?
You got to be able.
Somebody will do a pretty good job in that way.
Yeah.
Screen pass there, and this is the end zone view. Who'd you throw to here?
To Reggie Gibson coming out of the backfield. Lineman do a good job setting it up, getting downfield. trying to find somebody to block. You always tell them, I don't care who it is, you just find opposite color jersey and block them. We have some kickers that, if we get inside the 30, we ought to be at least be able to get 3 points.
That's Benitez, right? Who kicked that one, right?
A left-footed soccer player. Both our guys are great soccer players, Noe Diaz and Porfirio Benitez.
When you played, you guys had the Hernandez brothers.
Had the Hernandez kids. And, like I said, great soccer players,
they were.
great kickers.
One of them still playing.
Yes, Daniel is.
Kickoff coverage downfield.
That's another thing that we've been working on, and making sure we get downfield and make things happen. Make sure you stay in your lanes and you squeeze to the ball carrier. We did a good job getting down there, staying in our lanes. It's just at the initial contact, we didn't do a very good job wrapping up on that football player, and he broke out and gained a little bit more yards than what we wanted him to gain.
Who are some of the kids that we don't normally hear from that are playing on special teams?
You got Nicholas Edwards. You have Jamarcus Warren. And all the rest of them pretty much play offense and defense. Yeah.
That's good coverage downfield. Give those couple of those young men a plug here on the show. All right, back on offense.
That catch by Justice Liggins. Coming back for the ball, working back. Greg, make sure you put that ball to where only the wide receiver could get that ball. Outside and in front.
All right, 21-0, and again, the Woods interception on the screen pass was probably the backbreaker in the ball game. You're used to having big plays, and the defense, though, you've always had guys that could make plays on that side of the ball. We talk about the offense a lot, but this day's really more about the defense and what the job they did on Friday night, wasn't it?
Yes, and for the remainder of the year, that's what it's going to be about. You can score 150 points, but if they score 151, guess what? You still lose. So, I'm a defensive-minded guy, so my main focus was to make sure that the defense was not going to be the weakness of this season. For the past couple of years, besides, the Chris Hackett and Tristan Wade era that we had, the defense was pretty suspect, but that group that we had with those two guys and Antoine Lee and them guys right there had, that defense was a real good defense.
By the way, Tristan Wade was the player of the week for UT San Antonio in the Southland Conference here a couple of weeks ago. Pretty good day.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. He's a real good player. One of the most physicalist and pretty much talented kid I've been coaching in a long time.
And Chris Hackett is playing at TCU.
He's playing, and so is David Bush.
David Bush.
Matter of fact, he scored a touchdown against Grambling.
Okay.
And I think it was their first home game. He scored a touchdown. So
I didn't pick up on that. I looked at the box. I missed that. I don't know how I missed that. Okay.
Yeah. And he's having a good season starting out. So is Hackett, and you got other guys that's playing at other places
there's plenty of others,
Texas A&M Kingsville, Commerce, and you got Ricky Cousins in Western State. So those kids right there, it's good to see them playing on Saturday.
Yeah, it's great to see, and there's a bunch of them playing at the junior college level as well, just a whole bunch, and then you got Kendall Hunter playing on Sundays.
Yeah, you gotta love that. You gotta love seeing the John Tyler kids going out there and doing what they do best and playing football.
You got Kendall at San Francisco and Ross playing for Jacksonville right now. I think those are the two main kids.
Yeah.
Now, Derek Choice was at a training camp this year. I'm not sure he's on the active roster right now.
I'm not sure either, but then you got Jeremy Johnson, which is now Jeremy Lane.
Right.
He plays for Seattle, so you got those main three guys that are out there right now.
All right, that's good stuff. All right, now Mesquite Horn, an old district rival for John Tyler before you moved to 4A 2 years ago. But once again, you challenged yourself this year with a couple of pretty good 5A program, 3 out of the 5 non-district games you're playing, right? Lufkin, Lee, and Mesquite Horn, all 5A schools. You don't have to do that. You got to play Lee. But there's no law that says you have to play Lufkin and Mesquite Horn. Why do you do it?
Just to make sure you get ready for the physical impact that you're going to face in the playoffs. You know, like I tell you, we are playing to make sure that we make our great run at the state game. And to do that, you got to play good teams. And so far, you know, we took care of business against Lufkin. We took care of business against REL, which is another good 5A program. And now you go back and you go on the road and you face a very talented and that's going to make a good run in the playoffs.
They're pretty good.
Mesquite Horn.
They're 2-1. Now, they lost to Duncanville this past week. But they run a spread. They're pretty much a spread shotgun team, aren't they?
Spread, two back. They like to run the inside veer. They like to try to attack you with the run, but they do that to lull you asleep and then take advantage of the threat receivers that they have on the outside.
What do they call that offense? Do they call it pistol or what?
Yeah, they run a pistol offense.
All right, and the pistol, for my benefit and the folks out there, when you say pistol, you're out of a shotgun, but you're running a lot of option offense, right?
A lot of option offense, and basically they call it a pistol because the running back is behind the quarterback, either directly behind him or to the left or to the right.
Right. So, I mean, there's, you know, it's a lot of the same principles of the old veer, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just the guy's not under center.
He's not under center.
He's in a shotgun.
You remember the old Lake Highland offense?
Absolutely.
Pretty much the same offense, yes, sir.
Just without the guy to the center,
yes,
right?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Shotgun. And so, I mean, is there anything new under the sun in football, really? There's variations of a lot of old stuff.
It's a variation, but all it is a spinoff of what football is really about. It's about running, passing, catching, tackling, and that's it.
Is that really, I mean, when it comes right down to it?
Really what it boils down to. You know, everybody, I think, tries to outthink themselves, and they want to come up with these different schemes. And all these schemes really come together into one group. You just have a variation of the same group.
What's the difference you've noticed between 4A and 5A football? Is it depth, maybe?
Just mainly the depth. You know, the talent level is still the same. You know, 4A has just as many talented players as 5A. It's just that the numbers are a little bit higher. That's about all.
You guys are not playing with huge numbers either on the varsity right now, right? What do you have?
That's because I chose to do it that way. I'm kind of like the NFL. You got to make the 53-man roster.
Is that what you carry, about 50?
Yeah, I'm not going to carry more than 53 players at any given time. So, and that's because, I mean, it's only so many kids that you can play with.
Right.
You know, there's no sense of traveling 75 kids when you're only playing 40.
Right.
You see, I mean, yeah, it makes your sideline look good, but those kids that sit on the sideline, they should have been playing on Thursday trying to get better so that they could be out there playing on Friday instead of sitting on the sideline.
But you feel good about the numbers right now.
I feel great about
the freshman team. I saw the freshman game last week. Yeah, a lot of freshmen.
And our JV the numbers are really, really high. So you see those kids that are playing on JV now. You see those kids that are playing on freshman now. You know they're going to move up. Those JV kids, you know, a lot of them will probably get to see some action time in the playoffs. But that's only because they're getting better now during the season.
It's a big game Friday night then for you. Good test against Horn on the road.
On the road. Yeah, and the main thing you want to get that first home win under your belt too. You know, we didn't handle the first road game that we had very well. So now you come back off a good win against Lee. You go on the road, you back refocus, continue to do the things we've been doing, continue to get better, have a great week of practice, and let the chips fall on Friday.
All right, good luck.
Appreciate it.
Again, the Lions beat the Red Raiders 21-0. They're 2-1, and the game is at E.H. Hanby Stadium. It's the stadium you've been there before. It's on the Mesquite High School campus, and it's a 7:30 kickoff against Mesquite Horn Friday night. The Lions need and deserve your support as they go on the road looking to go to 3-1 in non-district play. For Coach Holmes, I'm Bill Coates. Thanks for joining us.